Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Flipping Furniture. My name is Monica and I am the founder and creator of Girasol Vintage. In today's episode, I'm going to show you a failed attempt to restore this old table that I found at my local Habitat for Humanity. Unfortunately, by the title of this video, I was not able to achieve that. I will be going over all the mistakes that I made and how I would actually do things a little differently so that the next time I try to restore something, it works out. If you're ready to see me fail miserably at restoring this table, go ahead and grab your popcorn and let's get started. As always, the first thing I do is remove any type of hardware or drawers in this case. I gave the table a good cleaning with some crud cutter and I started sanding right away. Now here's where I make my first mistake. I'm very impatient and I don't like sanding. Sanding is actually my least favorite thing to do, and I know it's crazy because how can you hate something that's completely necessary in order to refinish furniture? But I just don't like it very much. I started sanding with 80 grit sandpaper, which is way too abrasive. And thinking back on it, I really should have started with 120 grit sandpaper. But not everything was my fault. The table had some deep scratches that had gone all the way through the veneer, and I thought about saving the sanding dust that was coming off the table to patch and color match the rest of the veneer. In this clip, you can see how damaged the corners of the table were and how the veneer was starting to lift. And big shout out to my mom. She is usually the one helping me move my furniture. She's usually the one coming with me to deliver or to pick up. She's wonderful with helping me while my husband's not here. As you guys know, my husband's deployed, but he'll be coming home soon. So I'll film a little bit of that so I can show you guys the homecoming. After detaching the legs from the table, I realized that the legs were pretty damaged, and at this point I really should have abandoned the plan to restore the table. As you can see, the legs are also missing huge chunks of wood because they're not solid. But I was being optimistic and I decided to move forward with removing the finish with some paint stripper. But before I did that, I went ahead and removed the brass plates. To remove the finish, I am using premium paint and epoxy remover that I picked up at my local hardware store. I'm also using a cheap Dollar Tree brush that I can throw away later when I'm done using it. Please contact your local waste management office to find out how to get rid of chemical waste. Also, make sure that you're using proper gloves. I'm being not very smart here. I really should be using chemical gloves for this because if you get this on your skin, it will give you a really bad chemical burn. As you can see in this time-lapse video, this stuff is strong and it works really fast. So you really don't want to get this on your hands or your face. So make sure you protect yourself. So using a spatula, I'm just scraping off all the gunk that's coming off of these legs. I'm using a metal container to put the waste there. And again, just be careful not to get it on your hands. And here we go. Now I'm being smart and I'm using my chemical gloves. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be using another chemical, which is a neutralizer. This allows for the chemical stripper to stop working. And I'm just using an abrasive pad to clean up the residue, any stripping residue, and after this I'm just gonna let them dry and I'm gonna get to sanding. So right here I am just sanding the legs, and again discovering that restoring this table may not be an option just because the veneer on the legs and the top of the table was just so damaged that I didn't, to be honest with you, I just don't think it's quality work. You know, I couldn't sell this table like that. I wouldn't allow myself to do that. Anyhow, I'm still moving forward here. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the base of the table to see if any of it is salvageable, because again, the top of the table, the veneer was just so damaged that I don't know, I was getting very discouraged at this point. Here I'm just removing more of that original finish. If you wanted to sand this instead of using a chemical stripper, you can do that, but just so you know, you're gonna be adding heat to it because that just happens naturally when you're sanding, and the finish is gonna stick to the sanding paper and it's just gonna render it useless. So it's really up to you how you want to go about it. So this corner here had a minor crack, so I fixed it using a syringe with some regular wood glue. I purchased the syringes from Amazon, and if you rinse them right away, they will actually last you a very long time. I went ahead and clamped down the crack and let it dry for the rest of the evening. Alright, so while the crack is drying, I came inside just to take a look at the table. I was already pretty frustrated because it was so uneven. It had so many different markings. I know on camera you can't really see them that well, but trust me, it was not pretty. So at this point, I'm really thinking about changing to plan B and how I could really save this table. But I wasn't fully sold on just painting it, so I wanted to try a few different things, and you'll see in the next clips how it just didn't work out. But I give it my best effort, and at the end of the day, I feel like that's what matters. So I was pretty frustrated right here. I thought maybe if I went with a really dark stain, it would camouflage the just unevenness of the table, but it sure did not work out. I was just, at this point, I didn't know what to do. If you guys have any suggestions, we're always open for, you know, like some constructive criticism. Just be kind about it. You don't have to be mean. But if you have any suggestions for future videos, or if I encounter something similar, don't forget to put them down in the comments down below. They don't just help me, they also help other people who watch the videos. So this was the next day after I realized that I wasn't going to be able to salvage the veneer. I decided to fill in the cracks using some Bundo. If you've never used Bundo, this is a two-part filler. The blue substance is your hardener, and you want to use only a tiny little bit in comparison to the gray paste, because the more hardener you use, the faster it's going to dry and the less time you're going to have to work with it. While the Bundo is drying, I'm going to start painting the legs of the table, and I'm going to be using this black paint by Behr. I believe it's called black leather, but check down below. I'll definitely give you guys the name of the paint and other products used in the description box. I'm using my mist sprayer because this particular day was very hot, and also because I don't like a lot of texture left behind when I'm hand brushing. While I finished painting the entire table, I wanted to talk to you guys about what's been happening in my life lately and why I have been posting my regular weekly post or weekly video. I ended up having the Rona really bad. It took me out for about 3 weeks, and it still took another 2 weeks for me to feel like going back to feeling normal. One of the symptoms that I had was vertigo, which was very, very scary. I've had vertigo in the past before, but never like this. One day, I was driving. This is before I realized I had COVID. I was driving and I started feeling extremely dizzy. Extremely dizzy. And I had no idea what was happening to me. So I started panicking because as far as I knew, I was healthy and I was fine. So I started panicking and I ended up having a full-on panic attack. I ended up testing and of course it came back positive. After feeling dizzy for a whole week, I ended up making an appointment to see my doctor, and after it was safe, I went to see my doctor. He sent me home with some physical therapy to help with the vertigo that I was experiencing, and he said if I felt any worse, I should go back, but I didn't. I started feeling quite well. All right, so let's take a quick pause right here so I can tell you what I'm doing. Here, I'm just top coating the legs before I finish painting the remaining of the table. When you're top coating dark colors, you just have to remember to pour in a little bit of your paint into your top coat, which is, in this case, is a satin poly. Yes, you want to do this so that you don't end up with like this grayish coat on top of your paint. You want it to look nice and intense, especially with black paint. For this next part, I'm going to be using a roller to paint the top of the table. If you don't have a sprayer, you can use a roller, especially if you're trying to paint a large surface. You're going to let the first coat dry, and then you're going to use a 400 grit sandpaper to smooth out any texture left behind by the roller. So the second thing I wanted to tell you guys is that I've been working on home renovation projects in the apartment that my husband and I have in Virginia. I'm trying to get all the projects done before he gets back from deployment, so every chance I get, I drive to Virginia with my cousin Jorge, who's the one who's been helping me with all these projects. We're trying to do that so we can rent out this apartment. We are going to be moving to Maryland probably in the first few months of next year of 2023. That's where the Navy is moving us to next. And so we will be buying a new home over there. And you guys know me, I'm probably going to be doing all the cosmetic repairs myself. I will probably add a playlist on all rental work if you guys are interested in watching. So lastly, I'm just going to top coat the drawers. I decided to leave them natural just to have a nice contrast between the natural wood and the black. So that's pretty much it, you guys. I hope you really enjoyed this project. I hope you laughed with me about my failures. And just don't forget to leave my channel some love. Again, sorry for not being here very often. But just so you guys know, I still love doing this and I do still love bringing you content every week. So again, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave me a comment, all the good things for the channel. And I'll see you guys next week for another furniture flip. Bye-bye.